Hi there, my name is Jason Marino. I'm an agency manager here with Symmetry Financial Group, and just going to go over a little about myself, about our company, and what if we bring you on, kind of our expectations are for you here. So what I want to do first, give you a little bit of background about myself. Out of high school, I went in the Marine Corps. I served 4 years in the infantry from 2000 to 2004. Got to go all kinds of cool places. I was stationed in Washington, D.C. for 2 years, and shortly after 9/11 happened, deployed out from the great state of Hawaii to some places all over the world. So it was a really neat experience. I got to do some really cool stuff that I will always cherish for my life, and it really helped instill in me a wanting to do better, to always be the best at what we were doing. And from that, I got out after my 4 years in 2004, and I got into an industry that many of you may have been in at one point in your life, or definitely everybody knows somebody who's been in. I got in the restaurant business. And I did it because I love serving people. It was quick, easy money, and looked like something fun to do while I had just gotten out of a very hard point in my life that was interesting, but it was a very hard point in my life, into something that was a lot easier and was able to move up some within the company. It was a small little barbecue place back in East Tennessee, and was able to move up, eventually got myself to be a manager with the company, which was really neat. I was over several departments within one of our stores. I worked at several of the stores within that company. And did well. I was a young man in my early mid-20s, and I was making about $34,000 a year, and got to where I was pretty content. But I didn't really think that was all for me. Does that make sense? I don't know if any of you all have been in that point where you had done a very trying thing. Some people it's college. For me, it was the military, where I had instilled in myself a wanting for more. But I wasn't really able to satisfy that fully at the restaurant. I remember distinctly I was about 27 years old, and I was running most everything in the restaurant that I was working in. And our owner came in, and he was talking to me, and told him I wanted to progress further. I wanted to run the full store, not just several departments within it, and eventually move up into a director position. And he kind of chuckled and said, well, maybe in about 10 years we'll talk about something for that for you. You're a little too young, and it might be too hard for people to take some direction from you. And I did what a lot of people in corporate America do. I kind of smiled with gritted teeth and went on with my day. But the more I started looking at the culture of the company and some of the things I saw going on behind closed doors and how they looked at their people as really more of an object than a person. They were just somebody filling a role to produce money for them. It really wasn't what I wanted to see in my life and in my future. And I saw the relationships some of the men and leaders in that company had with their families, and I just frankly didn't want that for myself. So I started looking elsewhere. And after about a year of searching and getting out and trying some other things, I found the insurance industry. And it's never a position I thought I would get into. That was early, it was around April of 2011 that I first met my upline, Chris Cook, and got into business with him. And I figured, I looked at him, I did the interview, everything looked fine. I'm going to go over some of the things that he went over with me for you all today. And I kind of looked at it like, well, I can get in, I can learn about it. And if nothing else, maybe I can help my family, and at least somebody in my family would know about insurance, so I could then tell them if somebody was pulling the wool over their eyes about their policies. That was my viewpoint going in, and going to share kind of how that's changed over the years and what I've really grown to love about this business. We were at a separate company for a couple of years until January of 2014. We came over to Symmetry Financial Group. Just kind of give you an idea, going to kind of transition from that's a bit of my story to now who is Symmetry Financial Group. Symmetry was started in October of 2009 by a trio of gentlemen, Brandon Ellison, Casey Watkins, and Brian Pope. And they have a combined over 70 years experience in the insurance industry. Very knowledgeable men, very sharp, articulate men that understand this business and know how to grow it. And they actually came from the same company that we had come over for because they saw a transition in culture, and they saw a transition in how their people were able to stay profitable. And they were the same things that we eventually saw as well, and we came over with them to Symmetry shortly after they started the company. But anytime I think a company forgoes their people for greed, or they let their culture slip, you're going to see a big momentum change in the company. And that company definitely saw it with a lot of us leaving. Not to bash them, we learned a lot of great stuff there, and learned this industry, so we were able to come over here and be successful early on. So some background for Symmetry Financial Group. We started the company in 2009, October of 2009, and the company did, as you can see here, about $307,000 in production from there to through December. And what I love about this chart, it just shows our growth history. And you can really see growth year over year, to where just a couple years later, in 2012, we did over $10.5 million. And then fast forwarding to just this past year in 2015, guys, just shy of $35 million in production. And this year, 2016, so far through September, we're already just shy of $40 million, and run rating to close out the year close to $60 million in this annual production. So we definitely have $100 million in our target for next year, and looking to grow that and looking to improve on that moving forward, obviously. But also what that growth rate represents, in August of this year, Inc. magazine ranked Symmetry Financial Group out of the 5,000 fastest growing companies across all industries, and in the United States, we were ranked 1,360th. And some folks would be like, well, that's pretty good, but in the insurance section of that market, we're definitely ranked number one. We're by far growing faster than any other company like us in the entire industry. So as far as a great time to get in with our company, we're in the middle of an awesome momentum wave that we're really excited about and looking to help some more people take advantage of. Symmetry started in a little area called Swannanoa, North Carolina. It's just outside of Asheville, for those of you familiar with North Carolina. But when we came over in 2014, Symmetry was doing about 80% of its volume in 7 states in the Southeast. And that was with about, I think there were about 16 agency managers like myself in the whole company. We're now up close to 70 agency managers, and we're in almost every state. We're definitely progressing west, northeast, and definitely still in the southeast. We have massive growth potential. So again, as far as the wave of momentum, we're right in the middle of it, and it's a great time to get on board. We've figured out the kinks, and we're definitely looking to just continue our upward trajectory for the years to come. So let's talk about how we do it. So what is our company based off of? We specialize in what's called mortgage protection. What that means is whenever a person, just an average American, goes out and purchases or refinances a home, gets a line of credit on their home, our home office, Symmetry Financial Group, sends them a responder. It's a mailer, and I'll show you a picture of that in just a minute. But we're going to send them a responder that tells them what we can do for them. So the services that mortgage protection provides, if you're like me and had no idea what that was, looking at getting in the industry, what mortgage protection does is when that homeowner, when that family member, husband or wife, or any combination of anything, goes out and purchases their home, they get the option to purchase mortgage protection, which if something were to happen to them, if they got hurt, if they got sick, if they were disabled, unable to work due to health or medical reasons, or God forbid somebody passes away and they lose half of the household's income, our products will come in and they'll help them pay the bills or pay off all or most of the home to make sure that family keeps the house. The bank's not going to repossess it within a couple of months. So it takes away a lot of the panic and anxiety for them. I've personally had 9 claims in the last 5 years of clients that I've personally written, and we've been able to keep every one of them in the home. And it's a very neat deal. It's very special and near and dear to our hearts that we take good care of these families. So our companies provide great products. Our role is to go out and be the middleman there. 2 of the other things that we do, one, it's probably our next biggest market. I think it's going to be one of the biggest ones moving forward, is we help people with final expense. Back home in East Tennessee, we call it burial coverage. Or burial if you're from East Tennessee. But it's basically when somebody passes away, there are some expenses that are incurred in the funeral process. Typically it's somewhere between $7,000 and $15,000 depending on where you're at in the country. And we have products that we can go in and help them with that. We also have some really neat products as far as retirement goes. Everybody remembers the nightmare that was 2008 as far as our retirement portfolios. I know several people lost 60-70% of their retirement within a couple of days or a couple of months. We have products that we can go in and show these folks how to not only still capture market growth, but be able to make sure that when the market crashes again, because it is coming, they're not going to lose a single penny. We have some really neat products that can help them with that. That market alone is currently a $22 trillion market. The scary part about that figure is prior to 2008, it was upwards of a $40 trillion market that was going to transfer when the baby boomer and Generation Xers, when they pass away, it's going to have to transfer that next generation, and we have the vehicle to do it. So that's kind of the market. That's who we're looking for. So again, How do we get to those folks? This is really one of the core reasons that I think Symmetry Financial Group is able to be very consistent so we have our system, we have our marketing program. I'll go over our system in just a moment, but our marketing program consists of leads. I'm going to show you a copy of that right now. So as you can see here, it spells out exactly for the client what we can do. It tells them, says death, if you pass away, we'll pay off your home. Disability, we can step in and if you're not able to work, make the payment. So it shows everything there for the client, as you can see. So if the client looks at this, if a husband and a wife are looking this over, and they decide that's something they want to get into or find out more information about and get signed up for, they fill out this bottom portion. They give us their name, their date of birth, their gender, what they do for work, how to contact them, when the best times to contact them. Across the country, there's different versions of these we've tried. So you'll see a little bit different information. Some of them give us, even down to their height and weight and if they're a smoker or not. So we get a lot of information from the client. What they do is they put it back in a mailer, they send it back to our corporate office, and that gets uploaded into our system. So as an agent, the person that you're going to be working out with is not going to be the 99% of people who would never necessarily want our services. It's not going to be the people who, if somebody was, God forbid, having to cold call or door knock, the ones that are going to tell you no all the time. You're only going to be calling people who have actively already sought us out. At the time they filled the form out, they were definitely interested in looking at something for their family to protect them. So that's how our lead program works. It is all generated in-house. We don't outsource it to a separate company. Symmetry owns the mail house. So what that gives us is exclusivity to those mailers, meaning you're not going to be competing with 5,000 other people calling and badgering the same family. You'll have several weeks of exclusive rights to contact and get in front of those folks. Very powerful tool there. So very quickly, want to go over how our money works. Like I said, annualized premium volume, that's the dollar amount that a client pays to the carrier. So I told you the figures, last year we did just shy of 35 million in production. In that number, we look at what is our average client pay. Well, our average client pays about $1,000 per year for mortgage protection or final expense services. So they're going to pay about $83 a month. But again, we annualize it, it's right at $1,000 in premium. As a new agent with us, you're going to come in and start out at what we call a 60% contract level, meaning of that $1,000, you're going to make 60% of it, or $600. Now, all of our carriers, there's only one, I believe, that does not advance all of that $600 up front. They'll advance us 75% of that $600 up front. So about $450 to $500 is going to be your upfront commission for each client you set up. Now, obviously, some will be higher, some will be lower, but if we look at our average numbers across the board, across the whole nation, it comes out to about $450 to $500 per client that you're gonna make in your pocket up front. Now, months 10, 11, and 12, we're gonna be able to get that extra $50 per month as the client pays it. So the client pays their 10th month premium, you're gonna get a $50 deposit from that client. That's one way we make money. So kind of looking at, to give you an idea of how these positions work, a part-time person with us is going to come in, and our expectations there is that you sit in front of kneecap to kneecap with 8 families per week. So as you can see here, what this looks like, if you sit with 8 families per week, we know our numbers. Again, we track every bit of that. So we know you're going to write between 2 and 4 families each week. And on a part-time basis, that's going to net you between $500 and $700 in net income, bring home to your family. So on a part-time basis, able to make an extra $20,000 to $30,000 per year, working about a 16-hour work week. That's time on the phone, it's time in front of clients, drive time. That's going to be your total commitment there to make that money. Now, our full-time position is a little bit more than that. That's sitting kneecap to kneecap with 15 families per week. It's just ones that filled this form out or people you end up with referrals from. 15 families per week is our expectation full-time, because then all your income is dependent to Symmetry. So we want to make sure we're setting you up to be successful. So we know if you're averaging sitting with 15 families a week, you're going to average between 6 and 8 applications per week, every week. That's going to net income, money in your bank account, between $1,700 to $2,400 per week. Not per month, per week. That's where I was able in my first 7 months to come in and make $63,000 on my own pen, just from what I went out and helping families, not having a clue about the insurance business, not having any idea what I was really doing half the time, but just following that system and sticking to that 15 families per week. So that's the model we call personal production. The other side, the other way we're able to earn income here at Symmetry Financial Group, it's one that I'll tell you about the last year and a half, I've really embraced myself, is we have the ability to really build our own business within Symmetry Financial Group. And they allow us, if we choose to go out and hire and train and qualify other agents. We're not trying to hire our broke cousin Willie. We're looking for other sharp professionals to come out and actually care about our families, get out and help them. And the way that works is very quickly. Like I said, we start at a 60% contract level. We're able to move up to 110% contract level. So for easy math, let's say that you hire somebody and they go out and they write an average application, so $1,000 in premium. And you've worked your way from a 60% to a 70%, because every 2 months you can go up 5% based on your production and your team's volume. You can go up 5% every 2 months. So you've worked to a 70, there it is 60. So you have a 10% spread of their business. So each time they help a family, because you've hired, trained, qualified, and spent time with them and educated them how to go out and bring value to the workforce, the carriers, the insurance companies, this is how all companies in this business, in this industry work. They're going to give you a 10% what we call spread of that volume of business. So out of $1,000 in premium, you're going to make $100 in what we call override income. So on top of your own production, you're able to go out and hire a sales force that's able to go out and help a bunch of families and make an additional income from there. That's where we see our highest income earners. That's where we have people like Ed Pritchett who have gone out and coming in from another insurance company, able to only get to about $24,000 a year on his own pen because they didn't have a lead program, they didn't have a system like we have here. He's now making over $100,000 per month, and he doesn't write business anymore. He's just trained enough people to go out and do it. Now he's the stud. He's our standard setter for our company, but there's 100 examples of people going out and being able to do that in a very short period of time, building a business to where their income is no longer just dependent on their efforts. It's a beautiful part of our system. We also have, when you get to that point, when you reach agency manager status, you'll sign a separate contract with Symmetry that will allow you to, if you were to pass away, want to sell your business, take a sabbatical, if for any reason you want to get out of the business, as long as your spouse or your children decide that they want to stay in and they want to keep receiving that override income when you've built a business, they're going to continue receiving that long after you're gone, into perpetuity. As long as your organization is still producing annual premium, they will continue to receive those overrides. And Symmetry, our owners, Brandon, Casey, and Brian, and their corporate office will come in and they will help continue to grow that business so that your legacy that you're leaving to your family is it stays intact as long as the company is in force. So very neat tool. That's something that no other company has out there. It's something that we've just rolled out as a company ourselves, and it really just backs up the word of our owners in writing. So it's a great opportunity there. And that kind of leads me from money into the system. Just going to cover this very quickly. It's a very tried and true system. Like I said, our owners, Brandon, Casey, and Brian, have over 70 years plus experience combined in this business. They've been over the trials, the tribulations. Everything you're going to run into, they've done. They started on the ground floor. They've laid the path and really paved it well for us. So it's a plug-and-play system at this point. We really know that if you come in and you follow steps A through Z, you're going to get the results that you need to get. So what we're not looking for, and this is something that I would tell you, if this would be a hard thing for you, we may not be a good fit. If you're somebody who wants to come in and show us how to reinvent the wheel and show us how your years of expertise in another industry is so much greater than everybody else's, it's going to be very tough for you. And I care about you enough to tell you that up front. We're looking for people to come in and just follow a proven system. We're able to go out and show people in a very short period of time how to earn pretty much whatever income they're wanting to. Like I said, I came from a $34,000 a year position, very quickly moved into a six-figure income. And it's not because I'm anything great. It's because I read the books they showed me to read, and I followed the system and just followed the path they laid for me. So in closing, again, if you care about people and you like helping folks who have asked for your help, want to make a good income and be able to earn your time and earn what you're worth, then click apply. Click apply down here below on the website, and one of our hiring managers will be in touch with you shortly. And hopefully we can move forward and have a great time together and get out there and change some lives. So look forward to hearing from y'all. Take care.